Hi everyone, welcome back to Lifting the Lamp. I'm Frater Eleftheria, continuing my video series on the Enochian Calls. This is Call 15.
O thou the governor of the first flame, under whose wings are 6,739, which weave the earth with dryness, which knowest the great name righteousness, and the seal of honour. Move and show yourselves, open the mysteries of your creation. Be friendly unto me, for I am a servant of the same your God, the true worshipper of the highest. Yils Taibayan, Elialput, Kasaman, Yupaihi, Kis Daj, Di Soaido, Kayoji, Os Ko. Dies Omax, Monaisi, Biovib, Od, Emechis, Yai Iladix. Zaika Od Zamran, Odo Sikal Kwaai Zorj, Lap, Zudo Norko Mad, Hoth, Jaida.
Now in this call we see something interesting. There's the introduction of a new order of angels which may be called flames. And we see these appearing in calls 15, 16 and 18. Perhaps the presence of the flames is also implied to be in call 17 as well. So they're flames or governors of the flames. And in this call 15 we're introduced to the governor of the first flame, whose name is righteousness and who brings dryness upon the earth. And again, with the apocalyptic symbolism, dryness seems to be intended as like a punishment from God or like a plague of some description, hearkening back to the very Protestant kind of influences upon John Dee and the way that he saw the world. And dryness often is associated with kind of, the last plagues of the apocalypse. Like if you think about in the book of Revelation, how it says one sign that the end times will have arrived is the drying up of the river Euphrates, which seems impossible at the time because it's like one of the great rivers of the known world. Interestingly enough, the Euphrates River is drying up now, perhaps another sign that we are living in the end times. But that is the way that dryness is used in the Bible, in the book of Revelation, as a reference to the coming of the end times. But in my own vision, dryness was used in a different sense. And the way that dryness could be a sign of the divine presence was not to do with judgment or anything else, but rather the thing that would sustain human society in a paradoxical way. Really what I was shown was a vision of the dryness of the desert, of the wilderness, as a symbol of the place where the prophets would go to receive divine revelation in order to build empires and build civilizations hundreds of years into the future. And it was the dryness that was kind of like the crucible of divine inspiration and the law of heaven being handed down to humanity. So as much as we might see dryness and we might see desolation as a curse, as it removes all of the safety and comfort of our familiar world, in fact it is also the thing that shakes us up and calls us to attention to something otherworldly, something heavenly. Appropriately enough, this was the fiery part of Earth in the Golden Dawn system of the calls. That was the element that this call was attributed by that magical order. And that is the 15th call. This is call number 16.
O thou of the second flame, the house of justice, which has thy beginning in glory, and shalt comfort the just, which walkest upon the earth with feet 8,763, that understand and separate creatures. Great art thou in the God of stretch forth and conquer. Move and show yourselves. Open the mysteries of your creation. Be friendly unto me, for I am the servant of the same your God, the true worshipper of the highest. Yils vivialput seilman bald dies acro odzi bust od bliorax balit. Disinsi kaioj lustan imod disom od tliob. Drilpa j yils mad zilodap. Zaika od zamran. Odo sikal qua ai zoj. Lap zildo norquo mad hoth jaida.
So, the 15th call dealt with the governor of the first flame, and in the 16th call we are introduced to an angel known as the second flame. This second flame has the office of understanding and separating the creatures of the earth, which is something which is also related to the 19th call, the call of the ethers, which we'll see later on in this series. And there is a reference in this call to the God of stretch forth and conquer. This appears to be one of the names of God, one of the functions of God associated with the beings in this region of the heavens. In my own vision following my reading of this call and the scrying that followed, I saw a lot of symbolism to do with the temple and the building of the temple as kind of like a symbol of the ordering or structuring of the universe. So, you know, that is very much in keeping with the separation of the creatures of the earth. The different kind of courts of the temple and the different rooms of the temple did have the kind of function of separating out different levels of holiness for different groups, whether they were the high priest or part of the priesthood or what have you. So we can see a parallel here in the separation of the creatures of the earth referred to in the call, which wasn't a clear kind of connection to me until I just thought about it then. A lot of the time I would read these calls and it would just sort of, I wouldn't really pay attention to what they were saying. I'd sort of just let it seep into my unconscious. And so we can see the power of revelation, the power of inspiration, the way that information can be drawn out in a way that we don't even rationally understand until, in this case, years later. So there you go. The God of stretch forth and conquer, I imagine, is just a reference to God, expanding the dominion of the kingdom of heaven on earth as part of the eschatological process. I mean, that would be my suspicion, which of course would also be linked to the building of the temple, funnily enough. Yeah, very interesting. It seems to be about the establishing of the presence of the kingdom of God on earth, the setting apart of holiness on the earth, so that holiness can become the center. In the Golden Dawn's attributions, this call belongs to the airy part of fire, and that is call 16. Here is call number 17.
O thou whose wings are thorns to stir up vexation, and hast 7,336 lamps living going before thee, whose God is wrath in anger. Gird up thy loins and hearken. Move and show yourselves. Open the mysteries of your creation. Be friendly unto me, for I am the servant of the same your God, the true worshipper of the highest. Yils dialput sobai upaya kis nanba zixlai dodsi odbrint taxis hubairo tastax yilsi, sobayad I vonfonv, aldon daxil od toaita, zaika od zamran, odo sikail qua ai zorj, lap zirdo norquo mad, hoth jada.
So in this call, we are seeing a call out to angels whose function it is to stir up vexation. And they are servants of God, but God in this case is heavily associated with wrath and anger. So once again, the judgment of God is being emphasized in the calls. During my own scrying sessions, following my own reading of this call, I saw a lot of visions that were to do with the destruction of the world by fire. I hoped at the time that this was only metaphorical, but the more I see the direction things are going in, I think perhaps it may have been literal. But it was this idea of the destruction by fire and a very strong theme of how things had been thrown into chaos, and that was the reason for the destruction. Almost like a echo of the words of William Butler Yeats in his poem The Second Coming, when he says, things fall apart, the centre cannot hold. That was the sort of feel that I got from this vision as it spoke about actually the future state of the world, which doesn't seem like that much of a stretch anymore, given how the world has changed since I received that vision. It saddens me to say. But one thing that was emphasized in the vision was that the center could be restored, and the center was linked to the symbol of the axis of the earth, or the center of the earth, which doesn't refer to the earth's core. It refers to a different idea completely. It's funny because although the center of the earth does not feature in the 17th call, it does feature in the next one, the 18th call. So it could be, again, like there's the development of an idea through the calls. But I will talk about that concept of the center of the earth in my next video on the 18th call, where it will become an issue again. It does seem to speak to the sort of continuation of a narrative across more than one call in the order that they appear, in terms of the message that they are communicating. According to the Golden Dawn, the 17th call was attributed to the watery part of fire. And that is the 17th call. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please leave a comment down below, hit the like button, hit subscribe if you want to support my work, and if you want to support me further, hit join or thanks down below. But thank you again for listening, and I'll see you next time.